Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so week 4 is in the books. The Giants are now 3-1 for the first time since 2011. That is ridiculous. Before I talk about the specifics of the game, I just want to give an applause to the coaching. It used to be a quarter of the season. Now, I guess it technically won't be a quarter of the season until the first quarter ends next week. But great job coaching. Great job on both sides of the ball, getting the most out of the players that we have. We do not have, a 3-1 roster. Yes, these are games that were probably winnable, but we do not have a 3-1 roster. We don't have a dominant roster. It's been piecemeal, and the coaches have gotten every ounce of effort of play out of these players. I mean, being honest, when you look at the offensive line, has been having issues protecting. We completely eliminated that this past game by basically having a bootleg, a rollout every single play almost. Saquon Barkley is our most dangerous player. Everybody knows that this offense is going to run through him, and we use him as a decoy on a regular basis. Fakes to him, hands-offs to him, fakes, handoffs. You don't know when he's going to get it, when he's not going to get it. Beautiful coaching. I mean, this team is winning games that they're supposed to win. I do believe that even though we are not the most talented team, we are a more talented team than the Chicago Bears. And that's a game that we're supposed to win. And how many times over the past 10 years, even including the Super Bowl season, but how many times have you seen the Giants go into a game and a team that they're more talented than, a team that they should beat? Because how many times have the Giants even picked in the top 2? The Saquon year, that's it. So that means that there were a couple of teams that were not as talented as the Giants, or at least didn't play as well as the Giants that season. And we lose those games. We lose a lot of those games. We win a lot of games that we won a lot of games that we probably shouldn't have won, but we also have lost a ton of games that we shouldn't have won and we shouldn't have lost. So shout out to the coaching. Kudos to the coaching. Brian Daboll has this team bought in 100%. He's playing the best guys. He's playing the guys that fit what he wants to do the most. He doesn't care about us getting mad that he's not playing this person, us getting mad he's not involving this person. He's getting the most out of this team. So kudos to Brian Daboll. Now I want to talk specifically about this game. First off, I want to give a shout out to Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is definitely the guy that stood out to me on defense. And I think, really, being honest with you, I think Dexter Lawrence is a huge part of why we won this game. The Giants, we lost our quarterbacks in the fourth quarter pretty much. We didn't have an offense besides Saquon Barkley. And when you don't have a quarterback there at all, they know what you're going to do. They know you're going to run the ball. So just looking at Dexter Lawrence today or yesterday, this guy set the line of scrimmage and he just opened things up for everybody else. This is the Dexter Lawrence that we wanted when we drafted him. A guy that, no, you don't have to get 2 sacks every game. You don't have to get a bunch of quarterback hits every game. I think he got 4 quarterback hits, I'm pretty sure. You don't have to do that every game. But you have to be a guy that can push the pocket and cause constant disruption. Look at Vita Vea, how if you single Vita Vea up, he's pushing that guard or center back into the quarterback's lap. And that's what Dexter Lawrence did every single time he got singled up. He got singled up, the guy is going to get pushed into the quarterback, and Dexter Lawrence is going to be in the backfield. It happened every single time he was singled, and this is what we want, and this is what we need out of Dexter Lawrence. This is the type of deal. I think he already got his 5th-year option picked up, so he's already back next year. But this is the type of thing that will get him extended beyond next year. So Dexter Lawrence really came to play, and I'm happy he was able to finally have a multiple sack game. This is the first one in his career. And if he can continue to play like that, and we can get Leonard Williams back, and Aziz, who, by the way, had a strip sack this week, and Kayvon Thibodeaux, if they can continue to get more and more comfortable, we can have a really formidable pass rush, at least for this season, maybe next season if they decide to keep Leonard Williams, which I hope they do. So we can have a nice front four over the next 2 years. So I'm excited about that. Uh, Other than that, secondary for the most part really stood up. Adoree Jackson for the second week has had some struggles. He gave up that long pass to Mooney. He left some space around Mooney a couple of other times. But other than him, I mean, Aaron Robinson, I called him Mr. Stomach. Long story behind that, but I picked on Aaron Robinson because I didn't like the pick, and I thought we could have gone someplace else with that pick, and I just didn't think he was playing all that well, especially in the preseason. But since he's been in this season, I mean, he just went out again, so we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully, it's not a huge knee injury, but since he's been back, he's played solidly. He was kind of plastering guys. He was kind of all over in coverage, so he looked good. Fabian Moreau came in after him. He looked good. There was coverage all over the place. Everybody was doing their job. Darnay Holmes is kind of settled in, so the defense, they look good. Now, of course, they're going against a guy like Justin Fields, but from what I saw on the tape, guys were actually covered as well. So they played solidly. Linebackers, Jalen Smith really adds a new dimension to this team. This is what I've been asking for, to get Jalen Smith back on the Giants. It was no reason for him not to start the season off on the Giants. This guy completely brought, he almost single-handedly solved our running game issues. He fills his gaps. He fills his gaps aggressively. He set the edge one play where he completely just shut down the run. He crashed down the tight end. They tried to block him on one. He crashed that tight end down all the way down into the backfield, set that edge, forced the run back inside one play. I love to see it. Jalen Smith is playing with a lot of ferociousness, a lot of energy. He's not the same linebacker that he was in his prime with the Cowboys. We all knew he would have a short prime because of that knee injury, but he's good in the role that we're playing him in. He's not a coverage linebacker, but he's an aggressive downhill player, and that's what he provided. Tay Crowder was finally able to not have to think so much, not have to figure out what gap to plug and all of this and stuff. He was finally able to be aggressive as well, and when Tay Crowder was being aggressive, he has his best game of the year. I don't know what the PFF guys have him rated as, but the eye test shows you that Tay Crowder was he was a factor in this game. He had a sack. He had another couple of quarterback hits up the middle, blitzing him up that A gap. He also had, I think, 7 tackles or 11 tackles? One of those two. I think it was 11 tackles. So he was all over the place and he was making plays. So Jalen Smith made Tay Crowder better, in my opinion. And I just think that credit needs to be given. Jalen Smith should have been signed on a roster somewhere weeks ago. So I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's helping out our team. Did I miss a level of the defense? I don't think so. Again, shout out to Aziz for getting the strip sack. Shout out to Kayvon for getting on top of that ball. Kayvon was in the backfield a couple of times too, but Justin Fields is a hard guy to take down. Same thing with Zimenez. He was back there. Justin Fields was hard to take down. The defense allowed him to scramble a bit, but it's not like he went over 100 yards or something. I do think that at times they could have spied Justin Fields, and Wink Martindale pretty much in the second half or the second part of the game started spying him with Jalen Smith, and all of that stuff was finished. There were no more runs from Justin Fields that went really anywhere once we started to spy. So good adjustment, but he should have made that adjustment a lot more early in the game. They wouldn't have even been able to put up 12 points. And this defense stood up 4 times almost. I think 4 times in the red zone. And one was because Richie James fumbled. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the offense. And people were upset with our offense for some reason. I just didn't get it. Because from what I was watching, especially with Daniel Jones in the game, the Giants offense was moving. I don't care if we throw it, if we pass it. I just didn't care what happened as long as we're moving the ball. And I just feel like there's no point in throwing the ball a bunch and trying to throw the ball down the field. There's no point in doing that if you're averaging I think we were averaging 6 yards a carry at the end of the game. And that was before Daniel Jones went out. And that was after Daniel Jones went out. And they knew that we had to run the ball. So there was no element of surprise because Saquon Barkley was running Wildcat. So that lowered our yards per carry average. But if you run for 262 yards in a game, do you need to at all worry about passing the ball? I just don't understand it. So the Giants ran for 14 first downs in this game. I just feel like anytime you're running over 250 yards in a game, you dominated at the line of scrimmage. Your offensive line won that day. So I just don't see an issue with how the Giants played football on offense. Now, can that work against everybody? That remains to be seen. But against the Bears, the game plan was to run the ball 40 times, Brian Dable said. So see how many rushing attempts. We ended up having 44 rushing attempts. So Brian Day wanted us to run it 40 times. We ran it 44. The offense was moving with Daniel Jones. I'll pull up the play-by-play here in front of me just to give you guys an example. We punted it once, and that was because Richie James couldn't get enough depth on his route, and he didn't get his feet in bounds that first drive. Next drive, we scored a touchdown. Next drive, we go 6 plays, and I think David Sills caught the ball and didn't fall backwards to just get the first down. He tried to give up ground to get it, and we end up punting. Next play, next drive, we get the ball back. We go down the field for a touchdown, 75-yard touchdown 2 times. How many times have you seen the Giants do that 2 times, go 75 yards for a score? So two drives out of 3. So the first one happened at 3 minutes to go. Second one happened with 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Either way you slice it, 2 out of the 3 drives we had back to back, we scored 2 touchdowns. Next time we get the ball, our defense forces a 3 and out, and then Richie James fumbles the the punt return, gives up all of our momentum while we had about 4 minutes left in the half, and we probably would have went down the field and scored again and got it to 21, and then really relaxed for the rest of the game. So I just don't see how our offense wasn't moving the ball in people's eyes. We had multiple drives over 50 yards this game, and I just don't see it. I really think that if Richie James doesn't fumble that ball, we go up 21-9 or something at the half. We go up 21-9, and we probably score a touchdown in the second half. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but I just don't see how we weren't moving the ball in people's minds, especially with 260 yards on the ground. And in my mind, that's a nice day at the office. But as far as shouting out guys, Saquon Barkley, he's having him a season. He's having him a season. He came to ball. He came to show out. And that's what he's doing. He told everybody, if you have that opinion on him, stay on that side of the table. And he was dead serious. And some people doubted him, but at this point, he's back. He's back, and he's actually better. He doesn't have the receiving numbers because they don't check it down to him almost every play like they did with Eli. But him running the ball is the truth right now. He's carrying this team. Everything is either to Saquon or using him as a decoy. So he's incredibly valuable to this team. And I feel like if this team is somehow able to get to double-digit wins, Saquon has to be in a serious discussion for MVP this year, because he is really putting his team on his back, putting this offense on his back, and making plays every single week, making plays every single drive. And look at this. They love to talk about, especially Skip Bayless and a couple of other guys who doubt Saquon Barkley. They say, look, if you take away his longest run, he has blah, blah, blah yards. Well, guess what? 146 yards. His longest carry was 29 yards. You take away that 29 yards, what do you have? 127 yards? In my mind, that's still a really good day running the ball. So Saquon turned up. Daniel Jones really used his legs, ran in 2 touchdowns. That was the offense. I mean, I don't see there being a need for us to force the ball downfield and pretend that we're a team that we're not, when this is working. Running the ball, using that play action, running these boots, allowing Daniel Jones to run. And Darius Slayton dropped a long pass. David Sills, the pass got called back. He had a nice 14 or 15 yard pass. Kenny Golladay shut out again, had 1 target. Bellinger, 3 targets, 3 catches. Guys just got to catch the ball, get yards. We moved down the field. Pretty much almost 2 drives in a row, we were moving down the field. So we got to build on it. Do I think that we're an offensive powerhouse? Absolutely not. But I do think that the offense is much better than it has been in past years. I do. I think when we're healthy, when we're doing things correctly, this scheme is getting us yards, and this coaching staff is doing their thing. So you guys let me know what you think of this win. 3-1 here. Film session. Some sort of film session is going to be coming out probably tomorrow or the day after. Packers coming up. London, 9:30 in the morning on Sunday. We'll see if we can beat the Packers. I mean, they haven't put up a bunch of points this year either. So should be a fun game to watch in the morning. Everybody's going to be up early. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Let's go Giants. 3-1 for the first time in over 10 years. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.